Hello, Craig here. Look, Something Clever Podcast Mark II. Going to have a crack at this because beautiful light out, and it's been a big week. Actually, had plenty of cool things I wanted to talk about. Still not totally sure how many people listen. I'm going to check the numbers later, but last week was a 30-minute session of brain farts, and it felt pretty good. I actually was surprised to be able to fill that amount of time just to pissing in the wind, but good feedback, nice people messaging saying how much they enjoyed it, that they don't normally listen to solo podcasts, which is fair enough. I'm hoping to get some guests soon because I feel like I'll bounce a lot better off. But man, it's been a weird week. I actually have been messing around a lot with office politics because of, the way everything's shut down and a lot of comics are diversifying and practicing and trying stuff. I'm finding that I am doing a lot of video editing, a lot of other things, and I'm dealing with office politics more than I have in the last 3 years. Yeah, probably since I left Tonightly. I haven't had to deal with office games, little trickeries and shit like that, and I have not missed that shit one bit. I really haven't. And those of you out there that might know what I'm talking about, little things like the office cuck asshole, will do things, send out group emails and, try to make a bit of a cunt out of you, and they've actually been shown to be in the wrong, and then will only message you back directly apologizing, no one else. Stuff, little things, just childish shit that you're not used to doing. My wife's out looking after the horses. She's giggling. She's giggling at me now. She doesn't actually know that she's going to be doing podcasts with me soon because we've actually applied for a few things. We're going to, that's pretty cool news. We've actually got a few options as far as podcasts. If this goes well, it's also nice to show people that it can be done as far as creating content out there. Been applying. The ABC are looking for podcasts idea and submitted the one for the Mongolia Derby that we're going to be working on. Another one about footy legends, local football legends, AFL legends. And I feel like that's going to be cool. We're going to be throwing the idea out for people who want to contribute local footy stories, because every town's got a football hero that was this great champ, and local legends in all these small towns all over the country who have these great stories, but no one ever seems to be able to track them down and talk about it. She's already locking the door like, I need to be locked in here. But yeah, it's been a big week. I hope you've been well. It feels like things are loosening up across the country a bit. Melbourne's still having a few issues COVID-19 case-wise, and so is New South Wales, Brisbane, and Queensland and WA are just like fucking pew pew, fuck it, throw the gates open. I reckon, yeah, it's going to be. I guess the true test will be which state is the first one to officially hold an orgy. Which club opens up first? Who's going to be the first to drop a comedy? Is that a toilet flush? Could you pick that up on that microphone? I hope not. It's pretty funny if you could. But yeah, what state? What's the gauge of when we're back to normal? I'm quite curious. Is it going to be the first? The comedy festivals trying to get going online. There's a few things out there like that. I'm not sure. I've got some pretty cool things coming up in the future as far as some comedy podcasts, some television appearances. There actually are some pretty cool things going out there. I don't even know if people watch comedy on TV anymore, but it looks like we're going to have some cool things coming up, some good content. I've been busier during COVID-19 than I was maybe the last 6 months in Perth before I moved to Queensland. Have to admit, it's been a weird transition, weird time. So I'm just out here. See, there's a bit of hair from this fucking beard. I did some trimming today. I'm getting all manicured and stuff. I don't want to be one of those guys. I'm holding onto this beard until comedy resumes. But yeah, it's a bit. Grooming is actually more annoying than shaving the whole thing, and I'm just finding random hairs everywhere. So excuse that. I am probably going to go get a beer break in a second. This is just the warm up. This is to let you know that I had a few things just over the week I was quite curious about. I guess probably the biggest news. Well, there's several things. I don't know if it's for people that are AFL fans out there, but probably the biggest story that came out in the last week was when I was doing the research for this AFL podcast was that a former football coach at the North Melbourne Football Club, Dean Laidley's West Australian boy, is actually from Balga, the suburb next to where I grew up in Perth. And His name is the Junkyard Dog was his nickname. Tough bloke, awesome bloke. Always been, always had a lot of positive things said about him. But he was arrested, stalking. And basically, the news story, if you don't follow it, I don't want to go into the details too deeply because, again, I feel like topics like this get pettifogged. So this former AFL coach was arrested for stalking. And someone took some photos, some cops took some photos and released them onto the internet. Now, it was of this seemingly tough, straight AFL footballer, straight, whatever. This is the perception of this person. And a photo was released of him looking a certain way, and everyone lost their mind. There are so many layers to that story, most of us never really should have known about. People were teasing him about what he was wearing, about his drug dependencies, possibly his mental state, all these other different topics. And then not enough information was out about what he was charged with, who he was stalking, all that sort of stuff. The actual weight of the story. The only thing I would have been concerned about in that entire situation, was whether or not if he was actually recently divorced or separated and there was an AVO out and this person was still violating that AVO, I think that would be the biggest thing to come out of this whole story, because the amount of women that are still killed by men in this country, I don't know about everywhere else, but definitely in this country, the amount of women who are murdered by their partners who have AVOs out on them, that's a crazy story. That's the biggest story of the whole thing. Whether this dude, that was his situation or whatever it was, what he was wearing when he was arrested is probably the least important part of this entire story. That was one of the things I was really curious about. Just, all these grown men and all these AFL players, and the perception that, gay people don't play footy, and all it's just stupid shit. And the whole time everybody's arguing over this stuff in comment sections. And yes, I am bored enough to be looking in comment sections. That's all I was kind of worried about. Are we really paying attention to the right part of this story, to the right aspect, the thing we should be concerned about? Whether we should be concerned about it or anything. One dude had a bad night, had a bad trip, whatever. It's not really anybody else's business, as long as the cops are doing their job and keeping people safe, which in this particular story they didn't, because they took photos of this poor motherfucker and then flicked it out to each other on a WhatsApp. This is another thing too about, it's probably a thing, maybe I'll call this podcast, shocked, not surprised. Maybe I'll call it that, because the amount of people like, can you believe police officers did this? Yes, we fucking can, dude. Where are you living? What interactions do you have with the police? Maybe you don't have any interactions at all, but I can't remember the last time I ever met a cop and thought, that person's flawless. Not once. And nothing against cops. I know it's a tough job, but historically and personally, don't really have too much great standing to work off when it comes to police officers and their behaviour, plus knowing the ones off duty. Also, well and truly, it's not that cops are bad people, but people are people, and people tend to be cops. That's where that's that whole mindset. Just because, that whole title dictating behaviour, people genuinely believing because you're a certain occupation, you don't behave a certain way. That's fucking nuts, man. It's crazy. Anyway, that's my take on that. As deep as I'm willing to go. For those of you who have no idea what I'm talking about, fair enough, but it was an interesting news story about a retired footballer who was arrested, and for me it was more just the reaction to these photos, which was a whole sad situation more than anything. I guess I'll go through a few other things. I'll hit the big ones because I've got other things that I kind of want to talk about, but George Pell's out. George Pell's out. This is an old story, but holy fuck. If there's ever a case to explain, he was convicted, right, by a jury. They went through the whole process. The victims got their justice, witnesses, everybody condemned him. He was caught, done, sorted, put in prison, pedophile, caught. And then just 7 or 6 other dudes decided, nah, let him out. That's it. Done. There's no countering that. There's no way to overturn it. Just let him out. If that doesn't, shit. It's almost as impressive as fucking Darth Sidious coming back for no apparent reason. But it just not again. I'm shocked. I ain't surprised. I ain't surprised that some little legal loophole was able to be exploited by the Catholic Church. And no one should really be shocked about that sort of stuff. Kind of cool though that some of the other churches, they're all bad. I hate all organized religions. I have no take in anyone that speaks on behalf of some entity and claims money as well and asks you for money to be a part of their faith. But yeah, some of the churches around Australia are actually condemning and taking away a lot of his honors and stuff. That's kind of cool, but man, those victims, those people, just like totally got fingered and fucked and everything for nothing. Eventually, to go through all that, man, that's harrowing. There was a part of me that I had to giggle when just the thought of pulling up to the lights, looking out my window and seeing George Pell in the car next to me. I genuinely don't know how I'd react. You've ever looking out your window and just seeing Georgie Pell in the, I assume it'd be a hatchback of some sort. Pedophiles drive small cars. I don't know what that rule is, but it feels like something, like a little dodgy car feels like that was where a pedophile would roll. Yeah, imagine him pulling up next to you and actually be careful of what brand of car they might sue. Be like, no, our cars are not for pedophiles. And yeah, weird thinking he's out. But I guess if there was at any stage of his life, this is probably where he's the least dangerous. Not as powerful, but yeah, man, there was a whole 50, 60 years. He was a dangerous, evil motherfucker. At least now he's out and can't move as quickly. Yuck. What are the other topics I kind of had going on? The other countries too. The smaller countries that have dealt with COVID-19, apparently now they're all having Zoom meetings and shit. So like Scott Morrison, New Zealand, Greece, all these other countries, the leaders from these other countries are now having meetings. Basically patting each other on the back. All the ones that have dealt with COVID-19 well are all calling each other, messaging and saying, hey, well done, you're a legend. What did you guys do? Like, what I love is the fact that the three biggest ones, the US, China, and Russia, aren't invited to these meetings, which is fucking hilarious because they've already got the technology to be spying on it anyway. They're more than likely hearing everything. But it's an interesting situation where but I get it, man. Even your leaders, even people in the top offices, they'd be lonely as fuck. Everybody else, I'm going to have a few Zoom meetings and stuff just to talk with some friends now. My best friend, we're probably going to chat tonight because the human connection is dissipating. And you do, even though I hate to admit it, I was always about, I miss performing. I don't miss people. I'm actually genuinely starting to miss people now. Coming up on Mother's Day, my old girl's about to retire. Thought that's pretty gangster. Don't really do that in my family. You generally, if you make it to 65, you're just grateful you fucking didn't die more than planning an actual retirement, which is cool. I kind of think she might be only like the second person ever in my mother's side of the family to genuinely retire and end up on a pension and work her whole life. So that was kind of a cool development. I don't even know how I got to that. Mother's Day. Coming up on Mother's Day. A lot of people are going to put in some effort for mum on this particular day. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, again, in Queensland, you're allowed to have groups of 5, up to 5 different people. Households basically can go see each other, but a third household can't. So it stops at 2 houses. 2 households are catching up and meeting up, which is cool. It's going to be handy. I guess we can have visitors now. Yet we haven't. That's kind of interesting. I mean, plenty of people want to come out to the property and check it out because I keep posting all these stupid pictures of me out here with the horses and the dogs and showing it all spacious. Sometimes I feel it is obnoxious getting on social media and posting stuff, and I've been getting a lot of shit. I've been doing this 25 push-ups for 25 days campaign, which is to raise awareness of mental shittiness or something like that. Basically looking after men. And some people have been hanging shit on me for doing it. And I, for the first time, felt bullied in ages of kind of like, oh, well, then I'll hide those posts. And I was like, no, fuck these people. You don't have to look at these things. You don't have to comment. You can sure as shit just unfollow and hide. It is interesting. But then I start acting all sensitive and stuff. This is weird. I need to get hardened, man. I need to get back on the stage with some abusive people just so I can get my fucking wits back about me because I'm feeling a little soft. I don't know about the rest of you, but there are some things I have genuinely been missing. But actually, just on that note, and we are back. And yeah, excuse the quick little cut. I had to turn the light back on, so the light was dying out, even though I really quite like that. This is the perfect time of day to film anything. They call it the dream hour or color hour or some shit like that. Magic hour. That's right. They call it magic hour because, yeah, the light's just perfect. Everyone looks nice at this time of day. Anyway, things I have missed, or things that just I was starting to feel to miss stuff. And I just started thinking about other shit I haven't missed. You know, back when things were normal. Did anyone here have a friend, one of those friends, riding with people, okay? Which is fine. It's part of the job as a comic. You got to jump in the car and you got to ride with people. And I hate bad drivers. I can't handle bad drivers. I think I've whinged a few times about the sort of people that need to pump the accelerator. You know, they can't just sit on it and cruise. They've got to, makes me car sick. I get furious. Taxi drivers, I got friends that do it. And if you're wondering if they're from certain countries, maybe they are. But that's not really the point. It's more the case that I can't handle that shit. And the minute they start doing it, whoever's driving, they start fucking pressing on the accelerator on and off. I notice it, then I get a headache, and then I feel car sick, and then I get furious. Happens all the time. I don't miss that shit at all. Probably the biggest thing that I hadn't thought about it the other day was you ever have that friend that's driving, right? They're driving the car. You're the passenger, and you're having a great conversation. You're friends, you get along. But they're those people that can't make a point or carry a conversation while concentrating on the road. While you're talking, they need to make eye contact with you. They need to look at you. Oh, yes, I am listening to you, and take their eye off the road. Fuck those people. Who does? There's so many people that have to do that. So many people that need to make eye contact with you. They will take their eyes off the road to keep the conversation flowing. Fuck off. I don't miss that shit at all. I feel sick in my stomach when I think about the people that I've been on long road trips for TV projects, stuff like that, and the person driving, because everybody else in the car is quite funny and they're enjoying themselves, they want to be involved, and they had taken the responsibility of driving, but they got to do these ones. They got to look at, yes, I am here. Fuck that shit. I don't miss that at all, man. I'd love to hear if, the one or two of you that are actually going to listen to this all the way through, chuck a comment and tell me what you don't miss. What you don't miss. There's so many things that I'm not looking for. Getting back to normal and all that sort of stuff. The amount of people that are cotton on and realize they don't need to commute to work as much, that's going to change things a lot. All the people that got found out as far as, how expendable their jobs really were, all their managers and stuff, and all the people that own their companies, like, fuck, we could totally do this without those people. That's going to be weird. But then there's a lot more creatives getting out there and having a crack. I'm one of them. I'm one of the people that actually benefited finding these spaces and creating stuff. I've got a podcast now, or starting a podcast. I've got a podcast. This is the second time I've tried this shit, Craig. Calm down. I need a beer. I'll be doing a lot less of that, I reckon, when things go back to normal. At least I'd like to think so. Still trying to stay fit, running around quite a lot, aiming for a marathon soon. Just bought a new pair of Bluetooth headphones. They're still charging. Just hook around the ears, which is fine, which is great. I'm reducing more and more the more I run. But then I get that crippling paranoia. It's like, yeah, cool, these are awesome. I can hear my music. It's really light. I've got radiation and shit just pumping through my head constantly. I wasn't this soft before, man. I wasn't so paranoid. I don't know what's going on. I overthink way too many things of late. But I guess this was happening. I guess everybody else is getting lost in their own heads. That or comment sections, like the response to, what was her name? Oh, fucking, the response to Adele losing weight. Fuck, that is hilarious. You got people just losing their mind because she posted a picture of herself. Weighs like a third of the size as she was when she started. It's you can't do anything right, can you? Well, on comments, I'm saying that, but fuck, who reads the comments? You shouldn't really react or worry about it. But people saying she's letting big girls down by losing weight. I'm sure her heart's stoked. Her heart's absolutely stoked. This whole big is beautiful shit. Fuck. There's healthy, and then there's unfit, skinny, and there's all sorts of crazy shit. But man, anytime your heart has to work not as hard, you make your organs have a little bit of a chill. It's a good thing coming from someone whose family, our hearts give out at 55, man. The only reason my dad's still alive is fucking medicine. The only way. The men in my family just cark it. If it's not heart on one side, it's their blood and kidneys on the other. So I'm not fucking gifted, he says as he drinks beer. But I just ran a kilometer in 56 minutes, so you can all get fucked. Sorry, 10 kilometers. But yeah. God, man, people just. But the expressing your opinion on other people's appearances and behavior, it's a pretty yucky sort of habit that a lot of people develop. I guess in isolation, it's only going to get amplified. How cool is it to go to buy toilet paper now and not feel like a lunatic? How great is that? To just go, when you think about the transition of the last 2 months, 6 weeks, where people were fighting each other for toilet paper, and you couldn't get it. And then when you would buy it, you'd feel like a leper, like you were some doomsday sayer by actually getting your hands on some toilet paper and being stoked about it. Now to walk into a shopping center and there's just fucking piles of it everywhere. Because we've come out the other side and everyone's going, oh, yes, that was a bit odd, wasn't it? Yeah, I love that. I love that. In a few months' time, stockpiling toilet paper is going to be like voting for the Liberal Party. Half of us did it, but it'd be fucked if you can find anyone that'll admit it. That sort of shit. I can't wait for that period. And yeah, it's what else have we got to talk about? Fucking, we got Office Games. Had a documentary recommended it to me. A lot of people are doing this. A lot of people watching good TV shows. I've got kind of a recommendation and kind of a don't. I had the Stand documentary, Warriors of Liberty City. So it's a TV show about a gridiron team. A bunch of kids playing gridiron in Florida, in the United States, poor black neighborhoods, and they're called the Warriors. And the person that recommended it to me was like, man, you're going to love this. This is great. I can't believe people do this. And I watched it, and it's basically poor black people living life through their children playing football. I was like, that's just Nolamara. The minute I saw that, I was like, oh, this is all too familiar. Like the other person nothing wrong with the person that recommended it to me. It's a whole new experience for them. But me watching uneducated, poor, broke, black parents in and out of jail, expecting their kid to come up good and make money so that they can live it up, so their kid becomes a superstar and makes millions and can look after them. It's just Nolamara, man. That was just my teenage years. It's awkward. It's awkward when when people make recommendations for documentaries they find fascinating, and then you're just kind of like, yep, that's just life. It was sweet. It was a nice, it's really well made, but I don't find it as triumphant. Like, I look at it from a different perspective, like where people are watching and be like, I hope these kids make it through. I hope, the parents, I hope they get out of the ghetto and all that sort of stuff. I was like, fuck the football, make kid study. I get it. I get it. It's easier said than done, but the amount, to add that perspective of sport not being the only way out, sport is more than likely the 1 in a million chance. Whereas, you know what? You can make some good money as an accountant or an electrician. You can make more of a living than what dad does right now when he's out the front drinking, yelling at you because you're not playing footy well. It was interesting. Maybe we do watch it. Maybe you do go watch the Warriors of Liberty City because it was kind of cool. But yeah, it was amusing. I love getting recommendations from people that, I've got like nieces and nephews. This one's, if you watch it, it's fine. I mean, it's all subtitled and stuff, but it's cool. It's fine. I always struggle to make which I was about to say, I struggled to make recommendation. Fuck it, I'll recommend this TV show. And who knows, maybe somebody watching this might not find this storyline all that fascinating because it's too close to home for them. But I've been really wrapped up in a TV show called Succession. It's an HBO TV show, and you can get it through Google Play or however you can do it. There are people that illegally download and shit. I didn't even know how to do it because I'm just too scared it would kill my computer. I mean, no, pay for all your content, cunts. Yeah, so Succession, it's a TV show. It's basically about a pseudo Murdoch-ish family based in New York, a big media conglomerate. The head of the family, at the very start of the show, has a health episode, and it looks like he's going to pass it on to his son, who's tearing himself up to take over the job. Basically, multi-billionaires controlling the media in the US. And it's just fascinating watching the level of wealth that exists. I mean, I'm aware of it, but I've never seen it. And just watching people bicker and how when making money and being powerful and all that sort of stuff is your only pursuit, that sort of stuff is fascinating. I do find that fascinating. It's a really well written film. Kieran Culkin, Macaulay Culkin's brother, is in it, and he is hilarious. It's actually really subtly funny, beautifully shot, well made. Another great HBO series, but I heard nothing about it until I kind of fell across it accidentally. But definitely check out Succession if you can. It's fucking weird. It's funny. It's great. I actually really, really enjoyed it, and just watching people try to cut their own family's throat just over money is interesting. So poor people generally, I can't help but feel they're just happier. Sure, they're not as financially stable and, more likely to die from a whole range of other things, but fuck, they just seem happier. Jesus, that's flown by. It's almost, count the beer break. That's almost half an hour there of the second Something Clever podcast, which is probably going to be shocked, not surprised. Podcast of the way, because I do like that segment, because there are a wide range of news and topics and stuff that are going on at the moment, and happy to have a chat, happy to have a guest soon. Doing some research for this AFL podcast I'm going to be trying to do with my mate Gump, as I mentioned last week. It's cool to get out now and be looking for talent and be looking for random football stories around the country. Like I found an 84-year-old who in Kalgoorlie who still plays football, running around out in the desert there, and there's a family of 5 brothers played in the one team in one particular game. Still looking for the fella that had to cut off his own finger to finish a game. Like, there's all manner of cool shit, and the Mongol derby training. Sarah's getting fitter and stronger all the time. She started running with around the block. I'm going to see if she'll run with me. So it's a weird dynamic, hey? Like, super competitive, and but also that thing too where she won't take any advice from me because we're kind of competitive, even if I could be so correct, which will always knock it back and not want to discuss it. So that's always interesting. That's going to be great trying to get that off, because there's a lot of projects out there, a lot of things that we're working towards and submitting ideas. The minute I think I can say the Channel 9. The Channel 9's got a comedy special that was filmed in Perth. It looks like that's going to go ahead, and once that happens, I'll let you know all those details and post that sort of stuff up. I was going to do another cooking video, but then all these other comics are fucking doing it. I think I need to look sideways or go some other way and start trying to think up something else. It's never a good idea if other people are talking about it. If other people are doing it. It's I'm just going through a few things to make sure I haven't missed anything. Barbecuing. Holy shit. Yeah, if you follow me on Instagram and Facebook, I'm probably just loading up pictures of push-ups and fucking barbecues. I've got an insane, this kettle barbecue at the front, man. I'm cooking every second day using smoke and coals and all sorts of shit. And it's supposed to be like but it's the best thing. But I'm kind of half committed. I love the techniques. I love all the cool things about owning a barbecue and getting right into it. I'm passionate. I love cooking. But I go into the barbecue place to buy some new coals and some wood chips. And he goes, "Do you need anything else?" And I was like, no, I'll just use some twigs at home. What, like, he goes, "Wood?" Like, yeah. What, off the ground? I was like, yep. Just have someone look at you weird in a barbecue place because you're willing to use like wood you haven't paid $35 for out of a bag. Fucking hilarious. Anyway, all going down that path and working on it and enjoying it and living life solo. This is the Something Clever podcast, the second edition. I think that went okay. Hope it wasn't too wishy-washy. Going to come up with some funny topics, some more interviews in times. Like my second microphone will be here soon. Got an idea too for an opening sort of jingle. Like, I'm going to build on it. I guess everybody starts somewhere. But hey, if you've got any sort of topics or chats, because I'm not confident enough to do like a live stream, because could you imagine putting one of those on and no one, no one calls in? That would be the loneliest shit ever. But yeah, if there's any comments, like the people that have checked it out and listened to last week's or this week's, to see that, yeah, man, holla, let us know if you want to have a chat, or if you've got anything you think needs to be discussed, or just even ideas where you think, actually, where the fuck do you think comedy's going to go? How long till we see stand-up again? Do you give a shit? We're really, really hoping to do a fundraiser for the Mongol Derby, do some stuff for horsey girls around Queensland, but that's been shot in the foot, so to speak. But yeah, anyway, cool to hang. Check it out. Okay, take care. Bye.